Shalom, call for limelight Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, great millstone. And the brothers pushing this truth to the hopeful leg. I say Shalom. This video is going to be diving into Yahushai's anger that he's going to display on this planet Earth, specifically at the Edomites, which through biblical prophecy, the scriptures, has not been done away with yet. Now, the main meat will be Isaiah 63, and I'll go throughout other verses as I go through Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, up until the 6th verse. Isaiah 63 from the top, verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom? So this person that's being referred to is Yahushai, and Edom is the Edomites, which are so-called white people who have rulership over the planet Earth as I make this video, with dyed garments from Bozrah. Alright, so dyed garments is just poetically speaking about Yahushai's garments. He's not going to literally have, when you read further down in the verse, talks about wine. So when you have, like in my past few photos of wine presses, when you step on grapes. When you step on grapes to make wine, the juice, the blood of the grapes is indeed looks like blood. And if it gets on your clothes, which is, another word for a garment, it'll be red, like it's been stained with blood. So this is, as I read further in these scriptures, it's furthering that poetic meaning of Yahushua slaughtering the Edomites. All right. Bozrah is, in the ancient times, the capital of the Edomites. Now, as we know, the name Bozrah and the location of Bozrah is not being controlled and maintained by the Edomites to this very day. The capital, which this is talking about, of the Edomites, is indeed Babylon the Great, which Yahushai in the scriptures will visit Babylon the Great when he returns. So let's get that. I don't want to skip out from here, so pull this up. Matthew, the book of Matthew, 24th chapter. Automatic red letter 2. Matthew 24 and 27. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So Yahushai will start from the east. So over there in Asia, what is that? Japan, China, North, South Korea, Philippines. He's gonna start over there with this slaughter fest, all right, and beaming up the elect through the Elohim. He's gonna start from there all the way over to what we know as the United States of America, which is indeed the Babylon the Great, which is controlled by the Edomites. So that's just going and just connecting scriptures to Isaiah the 63rd chapter 1 through 6. This that is glorious in his apparel, right? Because he's gonna, have on his description that's mentioned in Daniel chapter 10, the 6th verse. Traveling in the greatness of his strength, yeah, because he's not gonna meet Esau as a mortal man. He's gonna be immortal. He's gonna have a heavenly body. He's gonna have a body and power above pretty much everybody besides Yahweh himself. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Yeah, Yahushua is coming to do two things: to kill, to condemn, and then to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? So this is poetically speaking about Isaiah seeing Yahushua slaughtering these Edomites for all the wickedness they done on the planet Earth, which are indeed undeniable facts according to the scriptures, that so-called white people are the Edomites, and there's no way getting around it, because the Edomites are still around to this very day, and I will get numerous scriptures that proves that this is Yahushua, and that the Edomites are still on the planet Earth to this very day, when they're supposed to be eradicated, which will happen in the kingdom of heaven, like the scriptures say. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. So there's not going to be no mortal men with Yahushai. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury. So Yahushai is angry at so-called white people. Why? What they done to the Israelites, all right? What they done to the planet Earth, and what they done just period. What they've done as a people has been nothing but wickedness, because that's what they were created to do. They were created to be the wicked. For I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. Yahushua is literally not going to stain his clothes. It's poetically speaking of kicking much ass. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. That redeemed is the Israelites. And speaking of the third verse, um, let's go to the book of Luke, the book of Luke, 24th chapter as well. I'm gonna start at verse 18. Luke 24 and 18. And one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem? Has not known the things, and has not known the things which are come to pass in these days? And he said unto them, What things? And they said unto him, Concerning Yahushua of Nazareth, which was a prophet mighty in deed and word before Yahweh and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it has been he which should have redeemed Israel, and beside all this, the day is the third day since these were done. So the year of redeemed is talking about the Israelites from the hands of the Edomites. And that's when Israel, the elect, I should say, will be out of the grasp of these so-called white people's hands. And part of that will happen during Jacob's trouble as well. Now, before I go to the fifth verse of this, let's go hit up Revelation chapter 14. I'm going to start from the verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood in Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. So the 144,000 is going to be clicked up with Yahushua, having his father's name written in their foreheads, which they have now, which is Yahweh. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers and harping with the harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn the song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. And again, lining up with verse 4. You see how the scriptures line, you see how the book of Isaiah is lined up with Revelations. This is how the scriptures is supposed to be broken down. And just to prove that, since I said it, I think it's Isaiah actually. Isaiah 28 and 13. But the word of Yahweh was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. So you gotta go here and there to understand these scriptures. And guess what? If you can't understand it like that, That means Yahweh Shemi Shah is not dealing with you. Isaiah 28 and 10. Let me click that. Let me go to the full chapter. Verse 9. Isaiah 28, verse 9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line upon line, here a little and there a little. So you got to go to Romans to connect something that may be in Genesis. I'm connecting Isaiah 63. I already went to what? Luke, Matthew, Revelations. So that's how the scriptures are supposed to be read. Point blank, period. The scriptures is not supposed to be read from in chronological order to understand it. And this proves it. The scriptures itself prove it. You can't. It's like a puzzle piece. It's a jumbled puzzle piece, because it's a stumbling block. The scriptures are indeed a stumbling block. This is Revelations 14 verse 1. I'm gonna start at verse 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, and for they are virgins. And now it's not literally talking about them not having sex. It's talking about the doctrines of this earth. So you got Islam, so on and so forth. The 144,000, the elect men, the governing body of the kingdom of heaven, will not be polluted and synonymous with the word defiled, right? They will not be defiled by the doctrines, the religions of this earth, of this planet. It's not talking about them not having literal sex, because that would be an unlawful act of Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, these, because there's nothing wrong with having um children. The scriptures tell you be fruitful and multiply. Let's get that. Genesis 35 and 11. And Yahweh said unto him, I am Yahweh the Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. So that just proves that further evidence that it's not literally talking about the election, not busting seed in a woman, or popping a woman. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Yeah, the gospel, because Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. The elect are prophesying the downfall of these kingdoms, these nations. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb. So they will be the cream of the crop forever. In their mouth was found no guile, which is just deceit, for they are without fault and before the throne of the Yahweh. And that doesn't mean like when it goes into guile, it's not literally talking about everything they do. Because King David also gave people this slip up. He acted like he was mentally disabled, because he had the opposition coming his way. So that just the scriptures line up to prove the point. Verse 8. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, because the Israelites were scattered to all nations, Acts chapter 2, saying with a loud voice, Fear Yahweh, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters, and Yahweh Shai as well. Now let's go to oh, this is perfect right here too, before I skip down. Verse 8. This lines up previously about the election, all right, with their virginity. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And fornication is not talking about sleeping with women. It's about the religions, all right, the false doctrines of this world that these heathens created. So let me get let me scroll down. Let me scroll down because this is gonna line up again with Isaiah 63. Perfect. Verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, which is a chariot, a so-called UFO. This is what it's talking about with that white cloud. Um, Let me get a precept on that real quick. Which are the so-called quote unquote UFOs. Those in the book of Psalms. Give me a moment. All right. Book of Psalms. 104 and verse 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, and who walketh upon the wings of the wind. And that just, going to Yahweh Shai, and the Elohim, and very soon the Israelites. Is what King David saw Elohim standing on the wind. Like you see, like pretty much visualize what you see in these movies where characters fly, or these superhero shows. That's pretty much what that's going into. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud. Upon the cloud was one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, in his hand a sharp sickle. So this is Yahweh Shai. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle, and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he sat on the cloud, thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, and he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and he cried with a loud cry to come for with a loud cry to him that hath the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast into the great winepress of the wrath of the Most High. And that winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, and even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. So that's talking about Yahweh Shai getting busy out here, which also is Isaiah 63. Now let's get I'm gonna finish Isaiah 63, hit up a little bit more. Verse verse 5. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered, and there was none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. So that's talking about Yahweh Shah. Who else has this power to redeem the Israelites and bring down the Edomite strength to the earth? Yahweh Shah, which again, Revelations 14th chapter, Revelations 19th chapter, Isaiah 14th chapter, and another one in Revelations that talks about these Edomites going down with Babylon the Great. Psalms 137. But let's get Revelations 19. Revelations 19, and this is just gonna be the hammer on the head of Yahweh Shai being the one that's gonna come and slaughter you Edomites. Revelations 19 in verse 11, and it sees right here the coming of Mashiach, which is the proper way to say Christ. And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and this is talking about the chariots again. And he that sat upon him, was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So guess what? There's no such thing as a goddamn mothership, man. It's a fathership with these chariots. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, which means, crowns means rulership over people. And he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed with a vesture, dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. Verse 15. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, and with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty. So that proves that Isaiah 63 is talking about Yahushua. And again, Psalms 137 connects the Edomites with Babylon the Great, which is an end time prophecy. Psalms 137, verse 7. And remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of the Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dashes thy little ones against the stones. And that's going into Edomite babies, you so-called white people. All right, your offspring, little pale red babies gonna get splattered. And this is righteous. It's not wicked. What you Edomites do is wicked, because it's literally in your spirit. It's literally written in your spirit to be wicked. Let's prove that. Hebrews 12:6. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, for who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. That's right. Esau, even though it was already prophesied that Jacob would rule over Esau and the whole earth, Esau was still born first, and he gave away his birthright because he's a moron and he's wicked. Now let's get Isaiah the 14th chapter. Isaiah the 14th chapter. Scroll down. Verse 9. Hail from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from the thrones all the kings of the nations. So this is just going into Edomites' rulership coming to an end. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Because you Edomites been at the top, but now these nations are seeing your weakness, and you're just going to get exposed even more. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy voiles. The worm is spread under thee, and the worm covered thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations, which again connects to Babylon the Great, which is governed and controlled. That mountain is held by the Edomites, as we see now, which did indeed weaken the nations. Was it Psalms 50, I believe, or Psalms 51? That's the hammer of the earth. We just read it again in Revelations 14, talking about Babylon the Great plaguing these nations. Now, there's nothing wrong with the word Lucifer. You see, the Christianity has twisted things, because I think it was the first Nebuchadnezzar or whoever that was the king. It slips my mind right now. The king of Babylon, which was in Iran, I believe. He was called Lucifer, because Lucifer, all it means, let's just get it, is just the light bearer, whoever's has the chief wisdom, so to speak. The chief wisdom combined with the power. Let me get it again. Lucifer, light bearer, shining one, morning star, Lucifer, of the king of Babylon, and Satan, describing the king of Babylon. So that's why you Edomites are indeed Lucifer right now. That's what this is talking about. This is not talking about I think it's Nebuchadnezzar. This is not what that's going into. This is going into the daughter of Babylon, because the Babylon in the ancient days didn't weaken all the nations of the planet Earth. Why? Because the northern kingdom of Israel wasn't even under. That's an example right there. The northern kingdom of Israel wasn't even under Nebuchadnezzar's foot. Now let's just prove the morning star, right? Let's just prove that. See, Christianity's bugged the hell out. Revelations 22:16, I, Yahweh Shah, has sent my angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright and morning star. So Yahweh Shah is Lucifer. He's the morning star. What? He's the light bearer. He has that wisdom and power. Let's get that right there. See what that word bright is. Brilliant, splendid, magnificent. Magnificent or sumptuous. Bright, clear, gay. Gay means to be happy before it was twisted. Goodly, gorgeous. White. Alright? Which also connects to my previous video about Ruddy. Go check it out. Now let's get morning. Early. Dawn, because the day starts and begins with the light, the morning. And star. Let's get that. A star thrown over the sky, so being on a higher level. Nothing reigns over the stars but Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, so on and so forth. And guess what? The Israelites is gonna get that rulership as well. Revelations 2. Scroll up a little bit. This is what Christianity doesn't tap into, because it doesn't fit their wicked agenda. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. So how are the nations gonna have rulership with the Israelites if they're gonna be ruled over by the Israelites? It doesn't make sense now, does it? And he shall rule them with a rod of iron, as the vessels of a potter shall they be broken into shivers, even as I received of my father, Yahushua. And I will give him the morning star. So guess what? You heathens are going to be enslaved. You're going to get your ass, you're going to get beat. You're going to get a beat down. Isaiah 60. Isaiah 14. Revelation chapter 2. What's another one? Revelations. I forgot. I think it's Revelations. The 13th chapter. He that leads to captivity. Romans 9. Speaking of Romans 9, I'm going to end that off on Romans 9. Let's get it. I'm in this video off on Romans 9. Romans 9. Actually, no, I'm going to hit up a couple more precepts. And before I hit Romans 9, let's get this that proves that you Edomites are still here on the planet Earth. I'm just gonna get one precept that just destroys Christianity and the false narratives being placed on the earth. Obadiah 1 and the final verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. So the Edomites will be exterminated by the Israelites. And what these heathens say is that, I forgot. I think they said the Syrians, or they said a heathen nation. Pretty much in summary, they said a heathen nation wiped out the Edomites, which is a lie. That's two lies, because one, the Israelites are going to wipe them out. Two, I'm just going to read the precept It'll answer it. In verse 22, and Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh. So in the kingdom of heaven, the Edomites will be wiped out. And the kingdom of heaven is clearly not here. Romans 9 and 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, and Esau, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with Yahweh? Yahweh forbid. Because you Edomites were created to be the wicked. Let's get that Yahweh creates good and evil. I need to start memorizing more scriptures, man. I don't want Ratazah. Need to step it up. Isaiah 45 and 7. I have formed a light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. So you know Christianity say that Satan does evil, Yahweh's all good. Not in the scriptures. Point blank, period. Scroll down a little bit. I'm in this off right here. This is Romans 9 and 20. Nay, but old man, who art thou that replies against Yahweh? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? So, you know, Esau can't say or have any merit, any accomplishment from asking Yahweh, why did you make me wicked? Have not the potter, hath not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel to honor Jacob, and another unto dishonor Esau? What if Yahweh, willing to shew his wrath and to make his power known, endureth with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? So you Edomites have been gloating in your wickedness this long, so Yahweh can really bring that hammer on you, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy which he hath afore prepared unto glory, which are all the Israelites. Shalom.